folks. Welcome to another edition of Pubcast. We're recording a Pubcast, an actual Pubcast. Here we are.
In our own pub.
In our own housey pubs. Obviously, nobody is out yet. Nobody's gone out into the world. As always, I'm Wayne.
I'm Kim.
I'm Darren.
And we are doing it like the last one. We're doing this over Zoom. I know it's been a while since we recorded. It was April. We recorded our last proper Pubcast, as in like this on Zoom. April was when I think it was April when we recorded the last Zoom Pubcast, and the one that went on for like 3.5 hours. So it was unexpectly just 3.5 hour Pubcast. It was
yes, I'll be glad. There's just no way I can do that tonight, but sure.
Neither can I. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, like, we've obviously been in the Dungeons and Dragons thing. We've had like 3 episodes of Dungeons and Dragons Solution. What? Dungeons and Dragons game since then. And we're planning our next one for next month, for this month at some point, because everyone's schedules with the way everything's going. It's people don't know what the crack is with lockdown. Can they go outside? Will they go outside? Captain cabinets. Will he go out? Can he go out? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean that type of thing.
Fine with a
Yeah. So we'll see, but we have to suss all that out. We have a great giveaway prize on that one as well, thanks to Dublin City Comics. If you haven't checked it out, this is the plug now. If you haven't checked it out, you could win a copy of the Critical Role book, the Chronicles of Exandria, which is a beautiful art book. I got a copy of it for myself as well. An astounding collection of art based on the show Critical Role. And that is, thanks to Dublin City Comics and their ongoing sponsorship, that is our giveaway prize for the last episode of the Pubcast Plays Dungeons and Dragons.
These prizes are sterling.
Oh, unreal stuff! Like, and
they are really, really cool.
And like, people have entered, and we thank everyone that's entered. But if you to enter, you just go check out the latest episode of Pubcast Plays Dungeons and Dragons. It's on YouTube. It's basically search for Pubcast Plays Dungeons and Dragons, and you'll find it. And it's episode 11. And you answer a simple question, put it in the comments below, and then share the video on social media, tagging Irish Pubcast. That's all you got to do. And that book could be yours. We will throw it in the post out to you as soon as we announce the winner on the next episode. So you have until just before we record the next episode to get your answer in for that one. But we haven't recorded one of these since April. So,
look at my little face. Look how happy I am to see you. Yeah. Look, you wonderful idiots. I missed you so much.
Ditto.
Because as you know, Wayne, when we play D&D, we never deviate. We are on message.
Oh, yeah. Character, so everything.
We never get to talk to each other. It's just business. Business fish.
Business.
Those monsters aren't going to kill themselves, No.
Well, look, I mean, like I did. I think it was on Twitter the other day, and I don't know what it was. Somebody had tweeted, and I'm going to do the young lady a disservice by not remembering who it was because my brain is like a fucking sieve.
That's
grand. But I was on Twitter. I was on the old Twitter the other day, and there was. Let me see now. It was, I will tell you who it is. It is Orla Nidhu, at Naturally Orla, who is actually one of the Dublin and Dragons group, and also plays with the oh Jesus, my brain is melting at the moment. It's so warm.
It's the heat. It's a dry heat.
So she tweeted about doing a podcast. Sorry, I need to take a drink. He tweeted about doing a podcast, and I jokingly said we should do a podcast with everyone in the world of nerd that haven't seen each other in months because Dublin Comic Con couldn't happen.
Yeah.
And then it was like a case of I think our Tom chimed in and stuff like that, and then I realized, we haven't recorded a podcast in ages. So here we are.
I think we did it by our powers combined. We all got the kind of funky feeling at the same time.
We got the itch to kind of go and wanting to record And I've been thinking over the last couple of days, look, we need to go back and record an actual podcast. So here we are. And there has been a lot of stuff that has happened over the last couple of months. Like, I know everyone is like worried about a lot of stuff that's going on, and we've had the outlets that we've had to kind of get us through all of this very luckily, and everyone has stayed safe and stayed at home and looked after themselves and worn masks when they've gone out and all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I personally have had a lot of kind of stuff to keep me sane. You know, obviously my wife and my daughter keep me very sane, but other stuff as well.
Well, you know, you want to be careful about using toddlers as a sanity device. So my strength to you, Wayne. I wish you all strength.
Well, I mean, it's a case of we've have ventured out as a family over the last couple of weeks, but like stayed away from other people. So it was good. In that regard. But I think I've done a lot of nerdy stuff, played a lot of video games, like an obscene amount of video games.
Indeed, same here.
So that has helped a lot.
Tell us what you're playing and how many hours you've logged, Wayne.
Well, I played and finished The Last of Us Part 2, which was about, I think it was about about 30 hours into that one, which was an emotional roller coaster from start to finish.
I will say, like, I don't know if it records it when I know it's great. It's either it's great or it's shaming you, because I know, like, when you can look at the last time you saved and it tells you how much time you've worked up playing it. And I have a tendency, when I was playing it, I'd pause it and do a couple of other different things and go back to it. But I had chalked up 45 hours. So if you've done it in 30, then it must have been recording, chalking up the time when I had it paused.
Well, I pretty much just I beeline straight through that game because I've been waiting.
Straight in, no kissing.
No kissing.
I've been waiting for that game for like everyone has. Anyone that's a fan of that series of games from Naughty Dog, I've been waiting for that game for a long, long time. So when it landed on my doorstep, I was like, "Giz that," and I was like, straight into it, powered through it, and it was an emotional ride. It really was from start to finish. For anyone that doesn't know what The Last of Us is about, if you're not a gamer, if you're not into the game itself, the first one, basically you played the role of a character called, well, two characters, Ellie and Joel, as they trekked across America to find answers to kind of, Joel was delivering Ellie to a group of people because she was apparently considered to have the cure for what is essentially the zombie apocalypse. She was immune to to this kind of like plague that had infested itself in humanity. Yeah, and
yes.
She had been bitten by what's called a clicker, which is a zombie in this world, and she did not turn. And basically, he was then charged with transporting her. You know, he didn't want to. He was against his will. He kind of started off going, "Look, I'll get you from here to there, but I'm not going to go that fucking far." But obviously, they bonded, and they kind of had a father and daughter relationship by the end of the game. And then certain elements happened that led on to the sequel. And when the sequel happens, it literally hits the ground running, and you're like, emotional roller coaster after emotional roller coaster after emotional roller coaster, just fucking pounding on you as a player. An immersive game that beautifully realized by Naughty Dog and everyone there. Neil Druckmann was the game director, and he had a massive team behind him. And it was just, it was so worth the wait. I know a lot of people didn't like. Why were
people complaining, Wayne? What was the criticism at the beginning?
Well, so
too much apprehension?
No. Well, I think what it was people were complaining because the game didn't go the way they wanted it to go. They wanted to be able to play another game that was similar to the first one, where it was Joel and Ellie all the way through, and it was all about the relationship and all about their life together. And that's not what it was about.
If you play, I was lucky enough, because I never played I played the game, finished it, and loved it, and then the remastered came out. But I had a queue of games a mile long, so when it came out, I went, "Oh yeah, hang on, I haven't fucking played the remastered one." Yeah. So I was lucky enough to play all of that, and then straight into number 2.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a gap. I didn't have the chance to kind of get my own ideas of where the game was going. And personally, I the way it went, I could see it going that way. You know, I was shocked at a few things. I was shocked that I reckon the first thing that they were pissed off about, I can understand, but it was more, for me, it was more of a shock. And then it made sense, and then I continued on. Like, I don't know if we can. Well, I've finished it. Like,
thank you with no spoilers. I love it, Darren. That was like anyone who played it knows what you're talking about, and none of the rest of us know.
You might suddenly decide, you know what? Fuck this. Dust off a PlayStation 4, or sorry, 3, or if you're lucky, PlayStation 5 will have both of them, and just play them, and then you'll go, oh my god, I can see what the guys are going on about now. But like.
I mean, like he's right though. I mean, it's a case of the spoilers are. Even though the game has been out for a long, long time now, and you can
you never know when someone's going to play.
You don't know, and we don't want to ruin it.
It's so story driven.
So and that's the thing. This game is so story and character driven that if you say anything about it that is going to spoil the story, it would ruin it for anyone that has yet to get into it. I know people that are only just starting to play it now. And I was only talking to Stephen Mooney there last night. He's only started it. He's only just started. He's only about 5 or 6 hours in. So, I mean, if he's listening to this and he's going,
why wouldn't he?
I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to say, oh, well, this fucking happens. Like, the start of the game, something very traumatic happens. Something emotional happens. That is the MacGuffin that kicks off the adventure. And it's a tale of revenge. Now, from the get-go, there's a particular moment that happens in the very, very first game that when it happened, I was like, okay, when there's a sequel, because there will be, when there's a sequel, I know what the story of the sequel is going to be, because this is foreshadowing for the story of the sequel.
It made sense from playing it from one to into it. It was only, it made sense why a certain. Can we name characters, or will we not? Now, I wrote a little list of the individual characters.
Let's just okay. Well, from here, this point, right? Let's talk about. Let's say spoilers for the story of Last of Us.
Perfect.
1 and 2. So anyone that hasn't played the game, and I know there's people out there that have been meaning to get into it and haven't at the time, because it's a big time investment. From here on in, there are going to be spoilers for the next couple of minutes for The Last of Us 1 and for The Last of Us 2. So we are giving you a spoiler warning now. If you don't want to listen or watch us talking about these games, fucking fast forward. We might try and put some timestamps on the YouTube video if we can. I need to figure that out. And then basically then if it's the audio, just skip a bit and then you'll get there. But anyway.
We'll try
in The Last of Us 1, there is a section in the game, the character Joel is injured really badly, quite late in the game. Mm-hmm. And Ellie manages to get him away from the people that are attacking them. She kills them and drags him off. And it cuts, and it's Joel is recovering from his injuries, and you're playing as Ellie. And you're going hunting, you're trying to find medical supplies, and there's a whole side story with Ellie while Joel is recovering.
Is it your first time playing as her then?
It is, yeah. It's her first time playing as Ellie in the first one. Up until that point, you play as Joel all the way through, with Ellie as a support character helping you through the missions. And when you're playing as Ellie, I was like, right, when there's a sequel, this is going to be the sequel.
She's going to be,
Ellie's going to be older, and you're going to be playing her. Whether it's 2-3 years down the line when they build the game and make it, it's going to take a couple of years to make this game make a sequel. Ellie will be older, and either Joel won't be in the picture, or something will happen to Joel, and she'll have to go off and sort something out. Which is exactly what happens in the sequel.
Still a shock, dude.
Shock. The way they do it is so visceral and so gut-wrenching, because the character of Joel is ingrained in like a lot of people who fell in love with this game.
Yeah.
They fell in love with the characters. Joel is a broken character. In the opening sequence of the first game, in Last of Us 1, the opening sequence is famous for the fact that Joel is a single father raising a teenage daughter, and the plague breaks out. And in the process, his daughter is killed in front of his eyes by a soldier.
Fuck.
And that's the opening sequence of the first game. That's literally the first 5 minutes.
These freezers aren't going to fill themselves.
No.
Wait, fridges.
Yeah.
Fridges.
And there's nothing he can do. That's such a shock. Straight in. You think that they'd build it up. Well, they kind of...
Straight in. Like, that's the opening sequence of the game. You're kind of going, okay, the gloves are off straight off the bat. Like, it's like, boom. And then it skips. It jumps like 10 years, I think. I think it's 10 years 10 or 20 years. It jumps.
Yeah,
from
20 years, I think.
20 years. It jumps from the outbreak, his daughter getting killed, then it jumps forward 20 years, and Joel is old and grizzled and angry, and he's basically a fixer. That's what he does. He's a survivor.
Saint of killers.
Right?
You can tell he's a bit of a bad man. He's done things.
Oh, he's done some horrible shit. Now, then that's when Joel meets Ellie, and he has to then, and Ellie is roughly the same age as his daughter was when she died. And now this girl has trust upon him, put in his charge, and he has to keep her safe and travel across the country with her.
He has to get her to the Fireflies.
Yeah, the Fireflies are the rebels in this particular universe, and they reckon they could get a cure for this plague from her. Okay. So the process of the game is you traveling across the country and going through obstacles and different things and trying to survive and get Ellie to the Fireflies. And then during that, Joel gets injured and you have to play as Ellie. And then some really horrible shit happens to Ellie, and she has to come into herself and really mature very quickly to survive again and get back to Joel and then keep him alive, and then you just move on.
That sounds very stressful.
Very phenomenal title, phenomenal game, just amazing. And again, and you're aware of this, and anyone that's listened to the podcast or has even just met me in person is aware that I'm very luckily got to speak to Troy Baker.
Your boyfriend does the voice of Joel.
Is the voice of Joel.
The voice isn't enough. It's the whole
they act it out. It's all mocap. So he acts out. It's like they filmed this live, and they actually did the stage production at the launch of it, as far as I'm aware. You can watch the stage production that they did of it, which is they did a couple of scenes and they did it live on stage with the actors. It's all on YouTube. You can watch it all on YouTube. But so I very luckily have the added layer of having interviewed the actor who played Joel and having great conversations with him. He's a lovely guy. And I've continued to have great conversations with him over the years through multiple different avenues. And I've met him now a couple of times. And it just adds an extra layer of not so much familiarity for me personally as a player, but I can identify.
When you see the person and then you see the performance and you see how different they are, they're more. So I'm just going to write that down. Sorry, Wayne and Troy up a tree. Is that what I'm writing?
Okay, actually, Wayne, you remember that scene later in number 2 when they're carving something on the tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I was thinking, it's in another reality. It's Wayne and.
But. So fast forward to part 2, and this is for anyone that hasn't played part 2. This is a very early on spoiler.
We spoiled the reason. Well, it's the end bit.
It's the MacGuffin for the story. Well, the end bit for the first one is Joel gets Ellie to the Fireflies, and it turns out that to get the cure out of her, they have to kill her and cut her up. And Joel goes, nope, and murders everyone.
So he decides he's not going to hand over Charles Grodin to Dennis Farina. And then he decides he's not going to get back into the guild because he's going to keep the frog-eating child. Yeah. And wait, am I? Yeah. So
I'm a bit lost.
I want to see a Midnight Run Mandalorian crossover. It's exactly the same. Darren, it's the same device done in very
it's been done multiple times across multiple different. It's also very Lone Wolf and Cub as well at the same time.
It is, yeah. But, I got that from the start of the game. I don't think I would have in that situation. I don't think this is why you kind of see how dark Joel is, because he maybe it's like, I'll shoot anyone that gets in my way, rescuing the girl. He's like, no, you'll come after me. Bam, bam. You're just wow. Here's
the thing, man. I can tell you this now, honestly, man, as a father of a daughter, if anyone threatened my daughter in any way, shape, or form, I would do time. Like, that is the natural instinct of a father. And at that point in the game, that's his daughter.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I'm also thinking because he is already killed, and it's kind of like, it's like, eating food. This probably makes sense that he's gone.
But it's not even that though. At that point, it's not even about the fact that he's used to killing.
The difference between getting off with some young one in a nightclub when your wife is at home or sleeping with her friend. there is a difference in the level of emotional commitment with deadedness, getting people dead. I would imagine. I would imagine.
I guess, I don't know, but that wasn't really my train of thought in this particular situation.
No,
But,
I was talking about Darren when he was asking, he's used to indiscriminately killing, and I'm like, it's going to be different this time. I've got an ignorant question for you guys. I'm going to earn my reputation as the color commenter here.
Okay.
Color commentator. I remember once nearly rupturing my spleen laughing at Carl Pilkington when he was saying that when you listen to a song with a story, you can only listen to it once. So if you listen to Escape by the Buffett that isn't the investor, the other guy, Warren Buffett, Jimmy Buffett, which is the one that isn't the billionaire, the other one, the singer.
I've no idea.
Like pina coladas.
That guy, yeah.
Right. So that song is called Escape.
Could you not have picked a better story song?
Okay, I got a better one. Babushka by Kate Bush. It's actually... It's the same story. It's the same story. It's Midnight Run and it's The Mandalorian.
Yeah, but as Frank Carson always says, it's how you tell him.
It's how you know. So I have to tell you, Carl Pilkington established that if it's got a narrative, you're never going to listen to it again because you know the story already. And I'm like, well, no, that's if your video game is a play, is a movie, is a narrative that you can't deviate from, you don't play it again, do you? Or do you do it to see if you can do it faster?
The great thing about the games is that there's a story element and there's a killing the monsters element, or in this case zombies. But the story is so good. Like, I disagree with that because there's books that I've picked up even though I've known the ending and read again now. And especially considering it takes me ages with a book. But same with computer games. It's like, it's going to happen. There's bits you might have forgotten, but if it's good, you want to do it again.
Right.
You invest. I think a case with these games, you invest so much emotion on the characters, and you want to see. You're kind of hoping that they'll get through it, and you want to see it. And then sometimes when things don't go the way you want them to, you go back and play it again because
there is an option.
Maybe there.
Not get the story right, or to
no, it's not that. No, The Last of Us is a linear story. It's got to start, middle, and end. But it's the experience of playing that game. It's such a good game.
Yeah,
it's such a well-crafted game, well acted, well put together. It's like you said. Yeah, but it's like you said. It's like a movie. How many times do you watch the same movie over and over again?
I've seen Midnight Run about 900 times.
Yeah, how many times do you watch Bring It On? You know what I mean?
I mean, guys, guess where I went on a family staycation, or as Brazzy is insisting, we call them Leighenta Hira.
Oh, Jesus.
I went to Burr.
Also with
I went to Burr, and I did that the entire time. So
I know, because you sent me a video of it.
Yes, I did. What was I going to do? Not send you a video of it?
That is true.
I was in a car park with my mom belly hanging out. It had to happen.
But to tangent back to The Last of Us part two. So following on from the end of it, the start of the second game, and again, spoilers for anyone who hasn't played the fucking game yet and wants to. Mm-hmm. Within the first, say, 10 minutes of the game, Joel is brutally murdered.
That's why people were mad, because they were in love with him, because he was their hero man, alpha man.
So that's one of the elements why people were mad.
Yeah, you play Abby. You just like these two people. It's the way it's done. These two people are like looking for someone, and one of them goes off looking for the person, bumps into the person that she's looking for, and then tricks them. And it's the way it's done. Tricks them into coming back. And then, even though that they've rescued her life, it's so shocking. Like, I still can't, like...
So, yeah, there's a character that we get introduced to in the game called Abby. And so you start off the game, you're playing as Joel. So
is she in part one as well? Is Abby in part one as well?
Abby's new character.
She's new.
Okay.
New character. So this is set 5 years after the end of the last game. I think it's 5 years.
Yeah.
And Joel, they're now living in a town... and it's a community. It's a walled community. It's all safe. It looks like it's It's like its actual life, living within the world that is infected with this plague. And you start as Joe, and his brother Tommy is with you, who you meet in the first game. He's one of the old Fireflies, but he was one of the good ones.
And Joel's brother.
Yeah, Joel's brother. Awesome. So there, you start the game as them, and then you transition to Ellie, and you do a few missions with Ellie. You're introduced to other characters in the game, and then you're introduced to this new character called Abby, and she is. You don't know anything about her when you first meet her. You're kind of like, okay, and you're out in the mountains, and it turns out you're just outside where the town is where Joe and Ellie live, and you find out that she is there with a group of people that are from Seattle that are looking for somebody in the town. You don't know who it is, and she then decides to go off on a walk because she has an argument with a friend. She goes off by herself and is like, look, I'm gonna fucking sort this out myself. She goes off. She runs. She nearly gets taken down by infected. And some clickers, some infected. So there's different stages of zombie in this. They're not called zombies. They're different stages. There's infected, runners, clickers, and then goes on from there. Clickers are the ones you probably see.
The Z word.
They don't use the Z word at all, or Z word.
No, it's a plant that gets you.
It's because it's a fungal infection, and it turns people into these mad-looking things. But the clickers look phenomenal. It looks like they have an ink blot test as a face. It's kind of like the whole front of their face has got like fungal infections on them. It looks like something in a Pan's Labyrinth. It's brilliant. It looks amazing. It goes into your
brain and drives you crazy, and then you lose your senses and just want to kill everyone and spread the virus, and then eventually it bursts out of you. That's why it's like the time they took to kind of come up with a different version of zombie was pretty sweet as well.
Think of the zombies in 28 Days Later, how they're fast and feral. Yeah. These are fast and feral, but they have different stages of evolution. And the longer they're infected, they become other things. And the fungus inside them grows and adapts and changes their body and their biological kind of makeup. And it's phenomenal. It's a beautiful design. It's terrifying. It's so tense when you're playing the game and you come across certain variations on these creatures. And
are they really noisy?
They're they have this
they occasionally scream.
Yeah.
And they scream when they see you, right?
Yeah.
But it's great. They occasionally scream, and you think, oh shit, they've seen me. But they sometimes just do it.
Yeah.
To see if you will move.
Yeah. So they don't see because the fungus is all over their face.
Yeah.
They can't see it. They can't see in the dark. You can have a flashlight on them and they won't see it. They hear the movement. So it's like a T-Rex.
It's open in here.
Yeah. So and they do the jerky thing.
Oh yeah, it's always a good one.
Yeah, they do that
until the nurses.
Yeah, but they're a very nice idea and a nice kind of.
It sounds like it's a complete, just a beautifully put together project.
It is, yeah, from start to finish. Yeah.
Even the world is great because all the plant life is overgrown. It's.
Well, yeah, it's what you think the end of the world would be.
Did they make their money back?
Did they what? But yeah, so you're introduced to Abby, and Abby is this new character. You don't know anything about her, and then it turns out the person she's there to find is Joe. And it also transpires, as you find out through the game, that the doctor that was going to operate on Ellie was her father. And he was the last person that Joe killed before he took Ellie and left. And Abby has been waiting all of this time to find Joe and exact her revenge.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, the thing about it is, here's where the controversy comes into it, right? Yes, they killed Joel off, but anyone that with a sliver of common sense after playing the first game knew that Joel was not going to survive in the second game. You knew he had to die.
It's natural. He did in his past was going to come back and haunt him.
Yeah,
you knew that.
Natural transgression of storytelling. You knew that the big payoff for this game, after what Joel did in the first game, there had to be a comeuppance, and this was it. And that's the MacGuffin that starts this.
Chekhov's murderer, I think they call it.
And the thing that there's two things that were controversial with a lot of gamers, because unfortunately a lot of gamers are fucking morons. One of the main things is that Abby is a buff, butch woman.
Right.
She's well built. She's a weightlifter.
Well, you're not allowed those in video games.
Right?
Why not?
There is one woman and children. Those are the acceptable females.
I thought it was cool that you were playing this kind of like a tank.
Hooker bot,
Yeah.
love interest, and child. That's what you're allowed.
Yeah, so that was one of the bigger controversies. When Abby was first announced as a character, nobody really knew much about her. But the images that were released of her, she was a stocky bodybuilder build. And she's actually, her body type is based on a real female bodybuilder whose name escapes me at this moment. And,
of course.
But she's a formidable character. She can hold her own in this, what else would you think? Like, you adapt in this universe to survive. And Abby adapted because the revenge in her heart drove her to what she wanted to become. She wanted to be somebody who could do and inflict this pain, you know?
She's lucky that where she's based, with the people she's based, you're actually, because I'd see some assholes go, "Oh, where would she get a gym in the pandemic?" But
they're not trying to marry to a computer game character.
Yeah,
they thought about everything just to tell the idiots to shut up. It's like she walks through a gym with her team, I don't know if I should spoil it because it's one of the kind of big when you. It's a kind of cutting across, but like when you're playing as Ellie, obviously you're going to get revenge on the people that killed Joel. So you're coming across these people, random. Now the faces are brilliant, but I was always wondering why I'm seeing vivid faces of the people I'm getting revenge on because they're
so well done. It's so well done.
And when you
facial animations, if you can turn the camera when you're killing somebody like close range. And you can turn the camera and you can see Ellie's face and you can see the face on the person you're killing. And Ellie's face is like, the face on, the face that Gollum pulls when he's trying to get the ring. Like, it's that kind of a face. And then you see the people that are getting killed. The look of horror and fear in their eyes is unreal. It's so well done. It's so realistic. And it literally drives the point home. But yeah, D-Man, you were saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm cutting across you. Apologies, Wayne, but you play as Ellie, and it's done in days, which I thought was very, very good. But then, this is why I remember when you sent us that picture of the D&D stuff on the table. What kind of got it for me is like I seen that you were playing as Abby, and I was like, hang on, why are you playing? And then I was like, oh, you play as Abby again, and then it happened where you go back to day one as Abby.
Yeah.
And you're hanging around with all these people and, you're doing stuff and you're like, hang on, all these people look for me. And the people around you are the people that you have just individually murdered as Ellie.
It's so well done.
And you get to know these people. You really get to know them and you start feeling guilty, even though that in your eyes at the beginning of this game, you were justified in going to get revenge until, as I said, you find out that Joel killed Abby's dad, and then you were getting revenge. But the thing is, you let Ellie and Tommy go. You had a chance to kill them, and you say no, go on. And then from her perspective, you're like, oh shit, hang on, the people I let live, Ellie I let live, she's come back to kill my friends, and it's just so well done. Like there's so many different emotions you feel through this. I'm still kind of questioning who I was up for, or who I'm up for. Like if there is someone to like, if I'm on the side of Ellie. Or if I'm on the side of Abby, because it twists even more, which I let Wayne, if Wayne wants to talk about it, but just that bit for me, like getting to know Abby's friends and then feeling more and more guilt and then realizing, oh, hang on a second, maybe I didn't kill the Owen, maybe it was someone that looked like him. And then you come across your boyfriend on the ground who, but it's even like they go through the fact of like that you're so focused on revenge. You don't care about your boyfriend. Like you're working out, you're just focused on this one thing, and you have like interactions and flashbacks. You even have, as I said, the first thing is that you're looking for your dad. You're looking for your dad, and as soon as you realize that, like you see, and you go, hang on, I've seen him before, and you realize he's the doctor. Because for me, I had just shot him like 2 days prior as Joel.
Yeah, you went straight from the first one straight into the second one. Yeah,
I was like, oh fuck, is this going to be? Hopefully, this is the only guilt I feel. But no, I just murdered all Abby's friends, and now I've got to kind of go. Oh, well, the bit where you see, she comes in on the theater, and she's there. I'm like wondering, oh, okay, would I pull the
to give context to what Darren is saying? So you play the first section of the game of Last of Us 2 as Ellie, And you go through it and you start to systematically find every single person that came to the town to kill Joel, and you take them out one by one. And it turned, also the point of going on this mission is that Tommy, Joel's brother, has gone ahead of you. And his wife is like, look, let's go get him and bring him back. But Ellie's like, no, I'm going to go and I'm going to fucking kill these people. So you're actually going after Tommy to find him, but also kill everyone at the same time. And your girlfriend is with you as you're doing this. So there's all these different interactions that are happening. So what happens is you're traveling with your girlfriend, who has only like a couple of days ago had broken up with her long-term boyfriend, but they were cool. And as you're traveling, it turns out you find out that your girlfriend at that point is pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? And you're traveling through Seattle, and you have to leave her in a movie theater and go off and do your revenge. And as you're doing it, it gets to the climax of Ellie's story, and you're getting to the point where you find two of the characters that were very close to Abby, and you kill them. In cold blood, you kill them. But it turns out the woman that you kill is also pregnant.
Yeah. That was hard.
So she's like 6 months pregnant, and she's wearing this big coat, so you can't tell. And Ellie kills her, and then kills another guy. And as your man is slowly dying, he points at her and is like, "She was pregnant," and then he dies. And Ellie just fucking loses it and gets out of there. And then Abby. That's when the story switches. You see Abby's reaction. And then it switches back to day one, and you play through that entire section again as Abby from her point of view. And you see everything from that angle as, like, Joel killed her dad. You see the relationship she had with her dad. She had the relationship she had with all of her friends over the last 5 years while Joel and Ellie were living in Jackson. And it's like all of this stuff. So it builds these characters up and doesn't make it black and white. It makes it's so grey all the way through.
You have mad dreams when you're playing this shit.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, sometimes.
Particularly now. Like, particularly in the world we're living in. How could you not have mad dreams when you're doing this shit?
Oh, I suppose.
So I sunk 30 hours into that game, finished it, adored every second of it, was traumatized for a lot of it, but it was good trauma. It was actually quite cathartic. It was a phenomenal game to play, and I'm just very aware that we've been speaking about The Last of Us 2 and 1 for the last 45 minutes. But it's a phenomenal game.
Two last little questions, Wayne. Well, one is, do you remember the bit in the game with the sniper when you're playing as Abby?
Yes.
Were you shocked as me? I'm not going to say who it is, but when you found out who it was, I was totally shocked.
I knew it was him because they did they do the bit earlier on when you're Ellie, when Tommy teaches you how to snipe.
Fuck, it didn't occur to me, and when I got up, when he charges you and grabs you, and you have the little tussle, I wasn't scared. I was, it's you! All right, sorry, you're the bad guy. Yes, sorry. But who would you go? Who do you think was in the right, Abby or Ellie?
That's the thing. There's no right or wrong. It was just all revenge.
That's a nightmare. Also, what a casual dispatch of human life when human life is exceptionally precious right now, given that so many of them are turning into monsters.
Yeah. It was a strange time for that game to be released, but it was actually delayed a couple of times, but it was always destined to be released regardless of everything else that was going on.
Is it ever bad news when a game is delayed like that? It just means that they're putting more into it.
They're making sure it's right.
Getting released on time despite the fact it's not finished can just finish. That can stop happening, please. Because when you look at the games that are delayed, and I'm sure they took shit in meetings, and I'm sure they took shit in emails and blah, blah, blah. But when you look at games that were delayed and then ultimately released, it's always worth it. Unlike, say, New Mutants. God,
are we ever going to see that?
Well, there's a release date for it now, isn't there?
Yeah.
And there's a trailer.
We've had release dates for the New Mutants. God bless that cast and crew. God damn it, what is going on?
They got paid. They don't give a fuck.
They got their money. But did you see that they did it? There's a little joke going around the internet. New Mutants finally get released. Skype call with cast, and they're all old. They're all in their 60s.
Well, it's getting released here on the 29th of August. And
they are my birthday.
I'm looking here saying
remember when they moved? moved the date to avoid clashing with Deadpool 2.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, baby.
Well, couldn't you go see both?
Baby. I just feel like I've been looking at the New Mutants release. It's now a joke to me. I don't even know what the fucking New Mutants are at this point. Like
the New Mutants are like, I mean, it's from what this model of the film is, it's going to be a horror fantasy, and I wish it well. I'm not going to fucking see it in the cinema because I'm not going to see anything.
Oh dear! Oh no! He gave it a southern. Bless your heart. Oh God!
I say if it's going to be a horror, it'll be good to see.
No, well, like, I mean, I've seen the trailers and it looks good. Like I'm interested, but I'm going to wait for home release. I've been reading the comments underneath. Well, like because Cineworld. Never read the comments, D-man.
No. But this is the Cineworld, not for a movie. I'm going to like it anyway. But no, Jesus Christ. I was thinking, maybe like when the cinemas open, I might go because everybody will be wearing a mask and they'll be really safe. And then I went into the comments because it's Cineworld's open at the end of the month, and no,
masks are mandatory now, so they can't get in without them. So
unless you're eating in the auditorium while watching the movie, or if if you're this 60, this one comment was exempt. He had a note from his mom exempting him. And I was just like,
that doesn't work. His mom doesn't work. A doctor. Has to be a doctor. Unless his mom is a doctor. A note from your mom is not going to excuse you for wearing a mask.
I know, but he thought he was grand. I'm exempt. Look. And I was just like, I'm not going back because there's going to be loads of people doing that shit. And I'm going to get into an argument. And it's a shame that people don't realize, hang on. Could you imagine if this was like, I know the jokes are out there, but a zombie apocalypse, right? Zombies are out there eating your brains. You're sitting in, like trying to hold off. And suddenly your friend gets up and goes, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going outside. But there's zombies outside. Yeah. But like, I don't, I'm sick of being stuck in.
It's my right.
Are you going to wear your protective clothing? No, I don't want to. But the zombies will bite you. Oh, yeah, but it irritates my face. Like, stop!
Hashtag zombies ate my face. Yeah, Black Widow is supposed to still come out or no? Yes.
She's been delayed, isn't she?
Yeah, but I think
they would put that on.
Maybe next year now.
Everything for 2021, unless
I do know. I mean, and we can talk about this for a second because it's interesting.
Okay.
Disney putting Mulan, the live action Mulan, behind a paywall of €30 on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we went to the cinema as a family, it would cost us €40.
Yeah.
So I think what they're doing is they're offsetting the fact that you're going to watch it in a group. But in fairness, like, they have to get their money back. Is their approach, and they have no they have no responsibility to provide high art. They have to make money. They've always said that. But I can see why it's €30.
Do you get to watch it once or a couple of times?
No, that's it. You pay 30 quid and it's yours. That's it. It unlocks the paywall. Okay.
Well, that's good because I paid 20 quid to watch Trolls 2 to rent it for.
That was the benchmark. So as soon as Trolls 2 did gangbusters, it opened the floodgates for a lot of studios to go, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And I've seen the Mulan.
To have it unlocked is maybe worth it, but
as far as I'm aware, it's constantly going to be unlocked. Black Widow is due to be released on the 6th of November.
Wow, maybe things will be sensible then, but if people act the way they're acting, I won't be going back to the cinema. I'm going to give it another.
I have seen maybe 2 months. Put up on social media that they've gone into the cinema, and it's literally they've put pictures on Facebook, and it's like, and they've got a mask on, but behind them in the cinema, it's nobody else.
Empty.
It's just them.
I always have rotten luck. This is why I sit at the front now, because every single movie I've gone to, there is like 4 or 5 people on their phone. So I sit at the front now because it drives me crazy. Maybe I'll be safe.
Jesus. I don't see that anymore. Is it because I'm going to farty movies that only farts want to go to?
I think it bugs me so much because I'm sadly looking for it, and that's why I sit at the front now. But again, I we'll see in 2 months' time. I think I can go about 2 more months before I need to go to the cinema. Hopefully longer. But I do miss the cinema.
August. Did you think we would be here in mid-August?
Yeah.
We still wouldn't be going to the cinema.
Yeah.
Because of the way it was done and when it was organised, I think we.
Well, I mean, for me personally, it's just going to be like this until there's a vaccine.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And it's going to be April. It's looking like April. I read a scientific report or a doctor's report on, I can't remember the bleeding website now, but there were legitimate advances, and that they reckon they're going to have the vaccine in production by December, but then that's only for countries that are going to be widely affected. But we're not going to see
vaccine. We have vaccine. We did vaccine.
Oh, we make vaccine. It worked perfectly. My daughter, she take it. She's fine. It's fine. We have vaccine. All good. All good.
Me, that does not.
Everyone great. You take the vaccine. Is basically you take the potato before we make the vodka. You take the potato and you suck on the potato. You get the fever. You know that. It's okay. No. Yeah. So
fine. So we have one already. So off we go.
Off we go.
Yeah. April's not too much of a way considering. Like
actually, sorry, I just thought of something, Darren.
Go ahead.
I've just been going to fart movies in the cinema. The other ones I've seen have been Marvel movies, and they've been so engaging that the teenagers in the cinema haven't been on the phone. So there's that. They're actually
usually with
good
Marvel
film.
movies, we're all going like the first week, so it's all proper fans. So you don't if there is a person on the phone, I'm not the only one going, turn that shit off, boy.
Yeah.
You know, like, but that's why
but Darren's an equal opportunities watcher. He watches everything. Like you watch
everything and anything.
Well, I mean, you have like a lot more streaming services are putting their films straight up on them, but the likes of Christopher Nolan is refusing to do stuff like that. So Tenet is definitely getting a cinema release, but I won't be seeing it in the cinema.
Nope.
If I want to watch a Christopher Nolan movie, I'll just watch the 3 anime movies they ripped off to make it. That's just the way it works. So
I actually put a message. I have a excuse me, one second.
Okay.
No worries.
Yeah, but I mean,
send the links to those anime movies so I can watch them.
just watch Paprika about 3 or 4 times, and you'll get most Christopher Nolan films. Paprika.
And bang some bins. I had Wally Pfister is the governor. Let's do that for Wally Pfister. But we have I'm in a movie kind of filmo group on Facebook, and I just said, lads, I don't want to sound like a tool, but I know auteurs and I know what their thing is. Like I know what I'm going to that director for. What's Christopher Nolan's? Because it seems, is it that he writes it and does everything on it? Is it because is it that he hires good cinematography? Is it that because his plots are very convoluted. Like he's not a great writer, but he's competent, but he also directs it. Is it because he's a one-man band? Why is everybody so obsessed with him? Because I say this as someone who owns at least 6 or 7 of his movies. I enjoy them, but I'm trying to work out what the hysteria is about Christopher Nolan.
It's people's obsession with twists in films. He peaked at The Prestige for my
yeah. But it's not really it. It's just his Shyamalan and
exactly. He's the modern day M. Night Shyamalan. Because what happened was M. Night made Avatar, and everyone went, "What the fuck? Get away from me!"
Fire.
And he made that, and people were like, "What the? This is the dude that made Sixth Sense. Fuck off out of here, will you?"
Yeah.
And he did kind of claw some back there with the Glass movies and fine. But again, like anyone that was trying to cling to his, I love that he tied Glass in with Unbreakable, because Unbreakable is my favorite film of his. I love
it. Was it trilogy? I think he had an idea he was going to do that.
So he made Unbreakable.
I've seen Lady in the Water, so I'll always just get a twitch in my eye when you mention him, because that was hard. That was difficult.
Well, any film that the writer and director of the film casts himself as a writer in the movie that saves the world through his writing, you always got to question that kind of ego. But Unbreakable, and then Split, and then Glass. And Kev Keen actually worked on some designs in Split.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did character sheets for that of the characters. He worked within. I don't know whether it was directly with the movie, but he was responsible for a lot of there was some promotional artwork that Kev Keen did for Patricia and a few of the other characters, the Beast and stuff like that, back in the day when that film was coming out. And I adore Unbreakable. Adore that movie. It is, to me, the best film that M. Night Shyamalan has made to this date. Still, it's fantastic. I think it's pretty flawless. Then Split is a good film. James McAvoy fucking deserved some sort of award. And again, for Glass, James McAvoy deserved some sort of an award because he played like fucking 26 people or something in that movie.
Yeah,
he did the full Maslany.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
It's no shock. I like Glass. I was expecting it to go that way. There was like a 2% chance that I thought maybe he was going to go a superhero way, but that's the way I was expecting it because it was all dumbed down. It wasn't about the Avengers type stuff. It was all about, it was like there's a particular, I don't know, there's a particular comic I always think of for some reason about, the one where, Wanted, but the comic.
Yeah.
Where I don't know why I keep on thinking that, but it's like a kind of like the reason I'm thinking of it is it goes a different way to the way we're used to in comics, like where the bad guys win and whatnot. And these three movies were like was a different kind of universe where it's not all about the good guys winning and killing the bad guy in the big huge fights. It was just about how realistic to get it. That's it.
There was a realism. There was a realism too, even though Split kind of twisted that realism a wee bit with all these multiple personalities. Glass, the two in Unbreakable, it was grounded. Like that was the whole point of Unbreakable was Sam Jackson spent his entire life looking for a hero in the everyday because he believed they were out there. They weren't as fantastical as the heroes that are in the comics. I mean, Bruce Willis's weakness in it was water. Like that's as fucking normal as you can get as far as weaknesses is concerned, considering how much water covers the fucking planet. But
we're 90% water, 60%.
So it's like he can't fucking swim. That's his weakness. That's his kryptonite. But yeah, I think it was one of Bruce Willis's most understated and well acted turns in a long fucking time.
It's nice to see him. It's nice to see him stretching himself a bit.
I mean, I'm a big fan of early day Bruce Willis when he gave a fuck.
Yeah.
When he actually cared about, this is a craft that I want to do, rather than just rather than just go, I'm just going to collect a check.
I just need money now.
Him and Harrison Ford seem to be in a slow bicycle race. Like
at least Harrison Ford is kind of happy to be gruff. He'll take the Star Wars.
Yeah, he owns it. Yeah.
He is encapsulated that gruff old man actor role. But when Harrison Ford wants to have a bit of fun, he'll have a bit of fun. Just watch all the Jimmy Kimmel clips for that type of shit. But
the breaking of the hot toy.
Yeah, he's like that? Yeah.
Oh my god! I don't have any Star Wars hot toys.
He got the Han Solo hot toy.
He doesn't know. He didn't know. In fairness, he didn't know how much it was worth, but he was meant to drop it or something. But he has a look at the toy and he goes, I'm sick of this. And he breaks the leg off it, of a hot toy, probably around 300, 400 euro. And you're just like, they can glue it on, right? Well, I was like, they can glue that back, right?
It's still good.
My favorite one, of the Kimball ones, is that where he's pissed off and he doesn't want to answer anything about Star Wars. He goes, right, I'll talk, but nothing about Star Wars. And the camera pans to the people, and everyone that's standing up is wearing Star Wars gear, and they want to ask Star Wars questions, but they're like, what's your favorite color? But you can just see that they want to go, anything you can tell us. And then the bit when Chewie,
Chewie turns up and he's like, I don't want to talk to you. You know what you did. You know what you did. That was
really good.
She was my wife.
My wife, goddammit. Amazing. Like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford can take the piss out of himself. Bruce Willis just, whenever every interview you ever see of Bruce Willis in modern day, he just doesn't want to be there. He's like,
no.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It's like he's got a tax bill due.
Yeah, it's like he's Nicolas Caging the fuck out of it. But Nicolas Cage at least
Nicolas Cage is buying fossils.
Nicolas Cage has come out the other side of that now and is making horror art house joy. Like he made Mandy.
A stopped clock. If you make enough films, some of them gotta be good.
This is true. But he's come out. He got through The Wicker Man. He came out the other side. He's now making films like Mandy and The Color of Space, and they are two masterpieces of mad.
Just let's see what comes out the other end of this year.
Mum and Dad was good as well. Am I getting that right? Where all the adults go crazy?
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen.
Oh, that's good.
Look,
I really like that.
To getting somebody to go crazy is just waking up for Nicolas Cage. There's actually an interview with him on YouTube that's about half an hour long, and it's for the promotion of Mandy, and he's talking about his craft, and he's talking about his career, and he's talking about different things that he's done over the years, and you can actually see how smart that motherfucker is. How intelligent he is. I know.
But he's banana bonkers.
Yeah, but he's like fun banana bonkers. He hasn't vanished up his own arsehole. He knows he's nuts. And he's not the crazy it's like a warm hug of Nicolas Cage joy. I'll watch Nicolas Cage in anything. I mean, anything I'll watch Nicolas Cage in.
I just feel like Katherine Heigl was 0.05% as crazy and never worked again.
But that leads you to ask: is that the age-old adage of Hollywood just basically the female?
He's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew.
There's that as well. There's that as well. You know.
I just listen to people talking about what's the other one. It's like people would tell you what an absolute out and out bollocks Johnny Carson was, and he was doing that show for 40 years.
Yeah.
And and then you're looking at what's happening with Ellen, you're like, ooh.
But that's the thing. I think that's less to do about Ellen being a woman and Ellen being, a fucking horrible boss, if that's what she is. Yeah. But it's now,
is she not nice?
It's now the culture of now.
God. Oh, Darren, look up Ellen on Twitter, what's happening now. We're not going to tell you about it. No, it's look, if you are that fucking positive on camera 5 days a week, for how long have you been doing that show? Like 15 years?
As long as she's been doing Portia.
Fact checks me on all these things.
I don't think we have many Ellen aficionados who might be just...
No, we should be all right. Yeah, Darren, if you're that happy, forced happy, and if you're that rich...
And you're not Oprah.
That long...
Also, Oprah's the exemption to the rule.
Oprah's the exemption to every rule.
Okay, because she's occasionally on, the Ellen show's occasionally on when I'm sitting having my lunch. And, she just seems really happy. So I was like, maybe she's an Oprah,
There's a point, Darren, there's a point in parenting when your kid is really small. And you just feel, especially if you're feeding the child yourself as a mother, and it's called touched out, where you're like, just nobody touch me, just nobody come near me. I physically can't. I don't know who I am anymore. I've forgotten who I am. And I feel like Ellen has been doing that show for so long and doing it so professionally and doing it like just chopping it out, happy, dance. And I feel like you cannot do that and also be nice to every fucker you meet. You can't.
I thought that maybe if that's your job, then as soon as you come off camera and you're with your friends, you're like, all right, fuckers, how you doing? No.
And no, maybe it should be, but she's basically like, don't look at me, don't talk to me. And also hiring people who say inelegant things to their workers of color. So it's bullying and toxic work practices, and her being either ignorant of it or just so out of touch that she never know. But it's great fun. But I'm not making the case for Ellen is being vilified because she's a woman, because apparently Portia de Rossi gave up acting because of her. So fuck Ellen.
Jesus.
But yeah, Johnny Carson was, some of the stories about how he treated his writers are just amazing.
Johnny Carson was operating in a time where none of that shit was questioned.
Oh. Wayne, do you ever look at am I gonna get his name wrong? What's the absolutely amazing talk show from the 70s, and he was on for years? Oh man. You see, he's an American talk show.
He was on the Tonight Show.
Kick myself. Yeah, I'm going to kick myself.
American talk show.
Yeah, and you just have Peter Falk and Dean Martin and John Cassavetes, and they're all drunk, and you're just like, okay.
Whenever anyone says talk show from the 70s and 80s, I just automatically, being an Irish man who grew up in the 80s, I just think it's Harry Hogan. I just think Wogan.
Yeah.
Fuck Parkinson.
It's the right instinct.
Fuck Parkinson. Terry Wogan.
People went on that show drunk as well, didn't they? Didn't your man Oliver Reed go on Wogan? Or am I
famously, Oliver Reed famously went on drunk everywhere.
Yeah. I know everywhere, but wasn't there like Wogan was one of the main ones where he went on hammered?
Yeah. I mean, I remember like there was staples in my house growing up in the 80s that my parents, my mom in particular, always watched talk show things, like whatever, be it Wogan, but she had an affinity for Bob Monkhouse.
Bob Monkhouse was professional.
Bob Monkhouse, and what was the other guy who Freddie Starr did a lot of stuff with? Des.
Yeah.
What was his name? Des. Am I thinking wrong? Des something?
Des O'Connor.
Des O'Connor. That's it.
Yeah.
Des O'Connor, Des O'Connor, I have to thank Des O'Connor for my introduction to Dave Allen.
Oh.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's listening or watching this who doesn't know who Dave Allen is, go onto YouTube and type in Dave Allen comedian.
Dave Allen is the guy with glasses and the whiskey, isn't it?
He's
Irish.
He's Irish. Yeah. He sometimes wears glasses.
I don't watch enough of him.
I was fascinated with Dave Allen from a very, very early age, and my love of that type of comedy morphed and changed over the years because I went from Dave Allen to Eddie Murphy Raw when it was in that particular age bracket that found Raw in Extravision on the video shelf, and you rented it because I had the Extravision yellow sticker, and it was Eddie Murphy. And he's like, "That's the guy from Coming to America. What's this about?" And you kind of watch it, you're like, huh.
Oh, you got a fair wake up then when you watch that.
And what do all these words mean?
Yeah, and then when you rewatch Raw nowadays, you kind of go, "He can't fucking say that. He can't say that." Oh.
And I mean, the best thing is, Eddie Murphy will say, "I was very young. It was a different time, and I wasn't doing it."
No, you wouldn't do that shit on stage. But I kind of my comedy like roadshow, if you will, from an early age was Dave Allen. That then morphed throughout the years where all those type of comedians to to obviously up to Bill Hicks, and then later in life Doug Stanhope, and along those lines of those type of comedians. But that started with Dave Allen because he was so irreverent of a lot of stuff that was fundamentally Irish, like the church, the way we did things in Ireland, the way Irish people do things, Irish mothers, Irish wives, Irish families. It was like, because it was just the way he told the story. And I was always fascinated with the fact that he only had like 3.5 fingers on one hand. I think on one of his hands, because he used to hold the microphone.
I didn't know that.
And if you look at it, you'll see he only has like on one of his hands. It's just like he's missing like half a finger. And I was like, how did he lose that finger? And I think he told the story at one point, and I forgot it. But it's still. But no, I highly recommend anyone that. And it's old humor, but it's done in a way. I still cite one of his jokes that he tells about. I want to say it was Marlene Dietrich. It could be a different actress. I'm not 100% sure. But he talked about the fact that when he was a kid, he used to sneak into cinemas to watch dirty films. And he snuck into a cinema one day to see this movie, and it was in age. I want to say it was Marlene Dietrich. She was older, but she was seducing a younger man. But she was well into her. He was an older age, an older woman, the body of an older woman. So the skin was a bit more saggy. It was folds here and there. And as a boy sneaking in to see what he thought was a naughty movie, he was like, But then
that's what's under there.
He saw the same film years later when he was a much older man. He's like, "Fuck, I fancy her." It was that twist of the perspective of age as it transfer, and it's like it's that kind of an idea of a story. And obviously he tells the story much better than I do. But if anyone has never heard of Dave Allen, anyone that's listening or watching this that is not Irish or is not English, that hasn't seen him over the years, I highly recommend checking him out, because he was a phenomenal comic in his time. He's obviously dead now, but his humor was just quick, sharp, and very dry most of the time.
I love how easy breezy Graham Norton is these days. When you've earned your place and you're not trying so fucking hard, and he's just sitting talking to people.
Seems like he's sitting with celebrities getting lost.
Graham Norton has gotten to that stage where he's just like, yeah, whatever. And I mean, he's gotten to the point where people come on to his show because they know it's just like, we're gonna have a drink, we're gonna just sit there, and he gets the stuff out of people that you don't expect. You
might end up sitting beside royalty, where on an American TV talk show, you've got 7 minutes. Your stories are pre-prepared, and you're going to be split in two by the ad break.
It's a different animal altogether. And like you see it.
I see them at home actually these days when they're not being chopped and fucked about, marched in and out, and spend the first half of their interview pulling their dress down. Like it's cool. It's cool. Tandy Newton was wearing a t-shirt and just climbing all over a couch being interviewed by Colbert, and I was here for it. Yeah, it was excellent.
That type of stuff that's been happening during all of this, those kind of like at-home talk shows that you're seeing, being spearheaded. Dick Cavett, yep.
Jesus Christ. If I got off this call.
The Dick Cavett show. The Dick Cavett show.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Perfection.
Well, yeah. So we've already talked about video games, and I don't really want to harp on about another one.
Right.
But
however.
We're rolling home. D-Man, I don't know if you've played it, right? Now, I'm an avid gamer. I play a lot of games. I have played a lot of games. I own a lot of games.
All different genres
on different consoles throughout the years. I rarely seek out to platinum a game. What that is on PlayStation, you get achievements. The same on Xbox. But on PlayStation, you platinum a game where you get all the achievements and you get the final achievement, then it goes platinum. And I haven't done that on the PlayStation. You get a trophy, right? I've done that with maybe 3 games on the PlayStation in all my years of playing.
I did it back in the day when I was 18 to 25, when I had a bit more, I don't know what it is, time, I did that with games.
You kind of were like, I got to get them all. It's the Pokemon kind of mentality. You got to catch them all, type of thing. But
when you were talking about story games, I'm so used to playing games where there's 2.5 hours of story and then like grinding for 4 years afterwards.
I do miss my achievements though. That's the one thing I regret going from Xbox to PlayStation.
Well, you have achievements in PlayStation.
No, I mean like I wanted to bring my bragging scores over of all the games.
And again, there is that as well. You do have a gamer score on PlayStation though. It's a percent. It's like my gamer score at the moment is like it's a rank or whatever, or it's a number. So mine is like 15 or 16 or something. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember what mine was, but I know it would be more awesome if I was able
It's on your profile, and it shows your list of how many achievements you have, and you can compare it to your friends on your friends list and whatever. I don't know. I don't really know that many people who actually bother with it on PlayStation. It's a bigger thing on Xbox because a lot of the fucking Call of Duty braggy people are on Xbox. There are some of them on PlayStation, but a lot of them are on Xbox because I remember.
But achievements on Xbox were a bit of a joke there at the beginning. Like
they were. It was always more of a thing on Xbox where the little thing popped up at the bottom, and it still is because I have an Xbox One, and that still happens. But anyway, I straight after Last of Us 2, straight after it, I went and started Ghost of Tsushima. Which is a new game from Sucker Punch, who are responsible for the infamous games and Sly Raccoon. Ghost of Tsushima, if I say it right, is a samurai game based on the island of Tsushima off the coast of Japan in the year 1236 something. And it's basically the Mongol army led by Kota Khan invades Tsushima as a preempt to invade Japan. And you are a samurai lord who has to defend. You start off the game going into battle and you get fucked up and then you get revived by a thief, brings you back to life, and then you have to then reclaim your island from the Mongol invaders and free your uncle and all this honor as well. It is easily coming from The Last of Us 2, which was a phenomenal benchmark AAA title, into another benchmark AAA title that I was not expecting to be as good as it was. Ooh. I got about 42% achievements on The Last of Us because you have to kind of play it more than once to get all of the achievements.
Of course.
On Ghost of Tsushima, I made a point of platinuming that motherfucker straight through.
So you got them all in one go?
I got them all in one go. Sweet. It is by far one of the best games I have ever fucking played. It is a beautiful title. It looks amazing. It plays amazing. The story, the acting, it's just top tier all the way fucking through, non-stop. It's emotional. It's rewarding. It's just so fucking good. And I mean, it's. I think it's the top selling top selling first level, or for what the fuck it is, it's first level IP game on PlayStation. It sold like 8 million copies or something in its opening weekend.
I'm so glad, because it's so expensive to make games like that. And if it came to nothing, that would be very sad for everybody that worked on it when it was so beautifully done.
Oh, it's honest to God, it is a work of art from start to finish. I mean,
I got it from my brother for his birthday.
it sold more than 2.4 million units worldwide during its opening weekend.
Nice.
And that's insane. In its first 3 days, it sold 2.4 million copies, which is just nuts up for a game.
Wow. How did you know?
What?
Reviews. How did you know?
Look, I'm a weeb. I'm like, if it's about Japan, if it's about samurai, I'm all in straight off the bat. And I had pre-ordered it ages ago, and it was delayed. That was delayed because there was delays with that as well because of everything that's happened.
Yeah.
And it delivered just before I was finishing Last of Us 2. It kind of arrived, and because it was released just after Last of Us 2. So Last of Us 2 came out, and then about a month later, Ghost of Tsushima came out, and I didn't know what to expect going in. I'd heard the reviews were through the roof. I heard it was really, really good. I still did not expect the game that I got. It was phenomenal. You play a character called Jin Sakai. He is a samurai lord on the island of Tsushima. Your uncle is the ruling lord, and you ride into battle at the start of the game with him to fight against the Mongols, and they decimate the army of samurai. They capture your uncle. So you're left for dead on the beach where you're fighting, and a thief called Yuna takes you and brings you back to life. Nurses you back to life, and you then have to go about discovering what the fuck has happened and fighting your way back through the island, trying to rescue your uncle, building an army, building allies on the island, and driving the Mongol forces off. It's a game in 3 acts. The story is just phenomenal. It's so well made, so well acted, and it's the great thing about it is that it's a game that was made with an Asian cast straight through, proper Asian cast, and the game itself has multiple options, so you can play it in normal game mode, color, English dialogue, all acted out by the actors in it. You can play it in full color with Japanese dialogue, subtitled. It's got a black and white mode. Play it in that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But the black and white mode is called Kurosawa mode.
Wow.
So it's got film grain on it. It's got a particular gradient on the whole game. So you can play the game as if it's directed by Akira Kurosawa.
Oh, that is fucking awesome.
When the game was released in Japan, right, so Sucker Punch is a European games company. When the game was released in Japan, it received huge praise for the fact that a European games company were able to make a game that at its heart was a Japanese game. Very similar to the vein, or kind of the flip side of that will be the company that make the Demon Souls or Dark Souls game are making a medieval adventure game, or medieval fucking BDSM game for a lot of people because it's just punishment, by a Japanese company, but they make it like a European medieval battle game, and they get the tone of it perfect as well. So it's kind of the same. It swings and roundabouts in that regard. But I played it over the last couple of weeks, and I was just blown away by everything, every aspect. I'd say it's roughly around the same length as Last of Us 2, about 30 hours roughly. I finished the game, got every achievement in the game, and sat there and went, I think I'm going to restart this in Kurosawa mode.
Oh, wow. That's rare to get that. Usually with a limited amount of time, you want to get the next game you have on your stack. Yeah. So,
which I do have. I do have a lot of games that I want to get through. But yeah,
I got it from my brother for his birthday. It's funny. He came to me and said, "Here, look at this trailer," and I was in the middle of playing Shadows Die Twice, and I'm still in the middle of it because that game is beautiful, but it's difficult. And it was quarantine. But I love those type of games. But this one, I'm hoping it's not age, But this is the first game where I'm like, oh my fucking, there's a certain boss. And I was like, I can't get by this boss. I don't actually think, like I'm 42 and I was nearly 42. And I was like, I don't think I can get past this boss. Now I did, but the killer is as soon as I got past that one boss, straight into another difficult boss. So I had to say, if I play this, my controller's getting smashed. So I put it down. It's a great game, but I had to put it down, stepped away, played The Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2. And then after that, I went, right, I'm going to play the Jedi Fallen Order for something relaxing. Not realizing that it's as nearly, apparently, now so far so good, but apparently it's nearly on the level of the Dark Souls games difficult, apparently.
What
or
is
in and around that.
Sekiro is?
Oh, no, sorry, no, the Jedi Fallen Order. But once I'm finished Jedi Fallen Order...
Jedi Fallen Order is not a difficult game.
Okay, well, I'm really enjoying it, and the
It's
bosses
good.
were a tiny bit difficult, but not as bad as Shakira, Jesus Christ.
Shakira.
There's another. In an alternate reality, you're playing Shakira. Samurai.
Oh, wow.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Well, yeah, but...
Hello.
But, yeah, sorry, I am going back to it. But I'm sorry, I'm doing the Jedi game, then I'm going back to finishing it, because it's not going to win, and then I'm glad, because that'll be 3, technically. Futuristic samurai swords, then really, really difficult samurai swords, and then I'm going on to that one. And I'm glad you're saying
and like it actually there's some aesthetics in Ghost that is very similar to Sekiro, because it's got the the opening sequence in Sekiro where you're walking through the fields of those big white plants. They're all the way through Tsushima. They're all over across the island. You hide in them because the whole premise behind the Ghost game is that you start off as a samurai, but in order to defeat the Mongols, you have to become something else, and you have to kind of leave the honor behind and become this assassin.
You have to get down to business.
You have to get down and fucking like take these fuckers out the only way you can. And there's a beautiful conflicting storyline all the way through it where you know that what you're becoming, your uncle isn't going to approve, and he's a samurai and he lives by that code of honor, and you're going to rescue him, and the story goes to places you're kind of like, oh man, like the end of Act 2 just fucking floored me. And
the boss is good.
Yeah, so the way it's broken down at the end, there are bosses in the game, and it's done. A lot of them are done like samurai duels, but they're done like they're being filmed, like
proper ones.
It's like there's sequences where it's just like long camera shots of 2 samurai standing in fields, and the wind is blowing, and the camera's holding there, and you're looking. It's so well made. It's a beautiful game. So
I was lucky. Sorry, when I was lucky enough to watch a video. Once my brother said, "Here, this is good." It came on my feed. These 2 guys that train in martial arts were watching some of the fight scenes, and they were saying, now there was one, I think it was just a glitch in the game where the 2 weapons hit, but they didn't hit, but there was a spark. But bar that one, they were saying that all the other fights were pretty much on par what would happen, and that was good to hear.
That's a lot of work.
Now it makes sense that if they're saying how good it was, yeah.
In the game you unlock, there's 4 different kind of fighting stances as a samurai. So you have different types of fighting stances that have different kind of like blade techniques and stuff as you go through it, and they're for fighting different foes. So if you have a guy who has a shield and a sword, you have to go into a different type of stance to fight him. If you're going against a big brutish fucker with a big battle axe, you have to go into a different stance against him. So the game is well thought out, and the fights are nice and fluid. They're not clunky in any way, and you can parry and block and kind of jump out of the way and stuff. It's very well done. The mechanic of the game is phenomenal. And even, in a lot of games nowadays, you kind of go, right, this is now, to get this achievement, you have to go collect all the flags. And that's what you have to do. Just go collect all the flags.
Right.
That is in this game, but it's part of the story. It's part of if you are doing all of this, it's so you can get these things to make you the better fighter or to build you up and make you more powerful. So it's worth your while to do this. It's not that you're just going to collect the flags just to collect the flags.
Gotcha.
So it's a well thought out. It's got similarities to a lot of other games. If I was to try and give it like not so much a tagline, but amalgamate two games together to give you an idea of what it is. It's Red Dead Redemption meets Assassin's Creed, and it's but the good Assassin's Creeds and obviously Red Dead Redemption stuck together, but with fucking samurai, and it looks amazing. Like I've never taken as many screenshots of a game as I have with this. Easily.
Wow, that's
it reminds me, the pictures you put up, Wayne, remind me a lot of Dark Souls because of how visually great it was. Like I still remember playing, I think, Dark Souls 2, and it's a tough game, but I got to this area where it was just grass. I was on top of a hill. It was grass as far as I could see, and then forest. And I just stood there for 10 minutes enjoying it because of how, like, it felt like I was in a forest, but also because I didn't know what was beyond those forests, whether or not it would be a big, huge battle. And it was kind of like, like as I said, it was just like, wow. But also, this is probably what it's like for adventurers when it's like, it's now a good time to relax and get a bit out of my energy. Mentally, I was like, I can relax here. Nothing's going to attack me for this particular moment, and the view is brilliant. And the pictures that you were putting up, I got that image as well. Like, you know, it's great when a game like can do that. Like going like to The Last of Us 2, there's a few images in that, and in one where they do it, like one where Ellie's on the farm, and you know she goes out into the garden and looks out. I took a picture of it because it was so lovely.
Amazing,
When games can do that, it's awesome.
It inspires you to do that. I love when you're compelled to screenshot, like somebody's done their work.
Yeah.
At that point, but yeah, I can't chime in. I'm up to 370 hours on Animal Crossing.
Well, look, you stuck with that game longer than I did because I was playing all those other games. My island now looks like The Last of Us 2. It's probably,
but Wayne, my kids are not gonna stop fucking asking. They bring up yogurt every second day, and I keep trying to tell them, look, my friend isn't like, he's not, you know, it's not good. You have to, like, one of two things has to happen. We have to get the yogurt, or you have to come to Manusica again, because they are not going to.
No,
the idea that there's an island called yogurt has gone into my kids' heads in a way it will just not go.
They're going to be very disappointed when they get the yogurt because it's very much natural yogurt because there's fuck all in it.
They don't care. They don't give a shit. There's an island called yogurt, and my friend lives there, and that's all they know. And
there's a plethora of fruit trees. That's it. That's all I have.
That's brilliant. Oh, isn't it adorable that when you came to my island, you brought fruit, and I'm like, yes, I didn't realize at that point you could plant fruit.
Yeah, I figured that out. It took me a while to figure that out as well, that you could actually plant the fruit and grow the trees.
Yeah, I was coming back from Nook Miles Island with full trees in my pocket like a tit. But, you know, we're all wiser now.
We are. I mean, there's a lot of updates to Animal Crossing that I really should check out, but I've been too busy with other games.
Grown-up games for grown-ups, but I love my baby games. For babies, I got
Animal Crossing I think Animal Crossing for a long time was a lot of people's release for the longest time. And we've said this before. It came at the most perfect time.
So perfect, and that game was delayed. Delayed, and everything in it is an absolute joy. Every interaction you do, you're like, oh, wow. But you look at the way creative people are building their island. You know, there's some people, all they want to do is do their house. That's all they want to do. Some people, all they want to do is just, like, people are talking about my aunt is fishing all night. That's all she does, and she's so fucking happy. And you're like, who are we to tell people what happiness is? But I'm just working away. I find it so relaxing.
It is. And when I was playing it, I did find it extremely relaxing. Yeah. And my thing was finding different codes for different outfits online. That was what I did all the time. I don't know why.
Your Starfleet uniform.
I had all the Starfleet uniforms. I had what else did I have? The Babylon 5 uniforms.
Put that in the game.
Nice.
Yeah, it's people designing them. Like, you know, I had a rake of NASA t-shirts. There's loads of stuff that I got off the internet that was like codes that you just input into the fashion section.
People are just sitting there and doing pixels and putting that love and attention out into the world. And they're like, thank you, internet weirdos. You're not all on the gamers subreddit, making us want to set the internet on fire. You're really out there doing the Lord's work. So let's shout them out.
The Lord's work that is, Tom Nook, pretty much. But the thing about it is like, again, this has been talked about on Pubcast as well, is the beautiful kind of weird yin and yang of the fact that Animal Crossing New Horizons and Doom Eternal were both launched on the same day, and they both promoted each other's game. So much so that there's now videos of Isabel and Doomslayer together in videos on the internets doing things like slaying and also fishing.
And also fishing, yeah.
And, it's
slaying and fishing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where society's headed, lads. We are going to be either slaying or fishing most of our days. I reckon that's where we're going.
Yeah, definitely. There was a few other things I was hoping to cover, not just video games for this entire thing. But,
it goes where it goes.
It goes. But two things I do want. They're kind of promotional, but not really, because they're not really promoting anything we're doing. But our good sponsors, Dublin City Comics, who it is kind of promoting what we're doing, but they have opened up. This blew my mind when I found out about it.
It makes sense.
It does make perfect sense, but they have opened up a Gundam cafe in Dublin City Centre. Gundam and Coffee is the name of it. It's right across the road from Dublin City Comic shop on Capel Street. You go in there.
What do they do in Gundam and Coffee?
They build GoBots and Rock Lords and drink water.
Okay, gotcha.
But
that's exactly what it says on the tin. So
exactly what it says on the tin. But yeah, you probably, if anyone that knows about it, has seen the videos and pictures online of the lads walking in the shop. It's beautiful. It's a fantastic idea. There's nothing like it in Dublin.
No.
So, and I know people are being safe out there and they're taking precautions to be out in the world and live their lives the best they can. But if you are in the city centre, if you are looking for Gundam, and if you're looking for a cup of coffee, you could do nothing worse than going to this shop, checking it out, and seeing what the lads have put together, because it's like it's an amazing thing.
Do you know what it means that they think we're good enough to deserve that? It just means that they think humanity is worth saving, that they've done this. And I can't wait to get there and build that EV one or that Victini one.
Yeah, because they've got a lot of different ones, yeah. D-Man, what are you saying?
I know it's, like a lot of people are staying at home, but I know, like, I've done it now that I'll probably go once a month into town to get my comics until I'm back working. But I know that probably next week, though, I'm actually looking forward to it, that when I go in to get my comics, I can go across the way and buy a coffee and have a look quickly at the Gundams. And even though I've got a rake of Gundams already from the lads that I've yet to build, oh my God, have you seen the shame I have? I've been distracted by building and painting models, but I'm actually now about to go and start building some more kits. But even though the fact that it's there is so awesome, I know anyway, I'll be going in, getting my comics, going across the street, getting a coffee, having a look at it. I'm hoping now, I'm really hoping that they might have some of the Transformer Gundams.
But they did before, I think they had. They did,
but even I know I'm going to get something, and it's it's a little extra treat, and it's nice that it's there, considering with there's not many places now that we can go to that so it's good that we can now in Dublin say that we have a Gundam and coffee shop.
I also trust them. I also trust them to be snobby about the coffee and for the coffee to be good. And
the coffee that they're getting is Cosmic Coffee is the name of the coffee.
It's out of this world.
And they've got some artisan hot chocolate shit as well. They're sparing no expense. And also they are adhering to safety guidelines. There are guides within the shop and signage everywhere, and there's a kind of a shield for the teller. So practice safety, wear your mask, keep the L distance, all that type of malarkey. But do go check out the shop because they put a lot of love into it, because it is very much a love thing. Because I've been going to Dublin City Comics since its inception, and Doc has always been a huge Gundam fan, and Jason Flood is a huge fan of big robots. And Anto knows his shit, so I mean, go in, support the folks in there, check out the new shop and buy yourself a coffee.
Like it's when the old shop closed, like we Gundam Club couldn't happen. There wasn't a place to go for maybe a minute or two, chat to the lads, and then go off. But at least this is somewhere, you are going to bump into. I know social distancing, but it's nice to have another place now where you might bump into someone else quickly that is also into Gundam. Have a quick 2 meters chat as well, and then off you go. But it is great, and I as I said, I can't wait to go in. My wallet's going to cry, but I don't care.
Well, that's it. You're supporting a brick and mortar store as well at the same time. Like you're supporting a local business. This isn't some big chain or anything like that. It's a local business run by local people. It's a local shop for local.
I was waiting. I was so chuffed. I'm like, oh my God, you love us. You love us. You want us to have nice things. Thank you so much, guys, and I will be in.
And speaking of nice things, Half Past Danger Kickstarter launched last week. Was it last week? Was it last week? It was. It was last. What day is it today? Today's Friday. It launched Tuesday of last week, I think. Time has no meaning anymore. But anyway, it launched. And within 8 hours in the first day, it hit its goal of 10 grand, but it's now on the stretch goals. Stephen Mooney and friends, because there's a lot of Irish comic book talent involved.
There is. It's a lot. Fun, eclectic mix.
Hey. There's a lot of them, and they're pushing to get the stretch goals so they can make the best book they can make. So we're pimping that as well. So definitely go check out Kickstarter for the Half Past Danger Christmas special.
It's such only the Half Past Danger franchise could get me to mention the C word at this time of the year, because I'm very, very festive, but I also fence that shit off very clearly. But
I don't like Christmas in July, but I don't mind a Half Past Danger Christmas in August.
Anytime.
But I can't wait.
I got money I didn't have, and I'm just gonna make it work. I backed that shit immediately, and I was running around a house in Wexford on patchy, shitty 3G trying to connect to the website. I did it.
Yeah, no, I backed it as well straight away.
It was nice to kind of turn around to me fella and go, I have to act fast because this thing's gonna be done. It was cool.
Yeah, no, it was great to see it actually get funded and get funded so quickly, and it is still going. I think they're closing in on their first stretch goal at the moment, which is so each stretch goal unlocks a new story written by Mooney and drawn by another artist.
Oh, I love that idea. Yeah. It's so ridiculous to me that Stephen Mooney would have someone else drawing when he's Stephen Mooney. Like, it's like if Dick Cavett decided he'd be the cameraman for a couple of episodes, but like when you see who he's got coming in, you're like, ooh.
Yeah. So the first stretch goal is Nate Stockman, who is well known for Nate has done Spider-Man, but it's really good stuff. Like, there's some images of the pages up there on the Kickstarter as well.
Black and whites, they're lovely.
Yeah, and then as it gets closer to each stretch goal, he's going to announce who the new artists are. And then if it hits all the stretch goals, it's going to be a 60-page book with a big pin-ups section at the back of other Irish artists as well. And I think even road comic artist Colin Griffin has thrown his hat into the ring on that one, because he did a bit of fan art during the week. For just as a bit of fan art for Half Past Danger to celebrate the Kickstarter, and Stephen saw it and he was like, "Fuck, if we hit it and I'm able to get the money to make it a book that'll fit all the stuff in."
Oh, he's that's
great,
But they have to get there first. So if you can throw a few shekels at the Kickstarter,
you can do it.
The book is due. Like, it's basically getting the book made. He's drawing it. If you check out Stephen's Twitter, he's drawing his fucking part of it now. You see him. The progression, and Deck Shalvey's doing his story as well, because there's a Deck Shalvey story in there as part of the main book anyway. So Shalvey is drawing one
a story that he wrote.
No, Mooney wrote all of it,
right?
And then he's got different artists working on it. So Mooney wrote all of it. Shalvey is doing one of the first extra stories, and Stephen Byrne is doing another one. They're part of it. They're part of the main book. But then there's more stories available. If the more stretch goals they hit, there's going to be 3 more stories added than a pin-up gallery. So yeah, the Half Past Danger Christmas special. Check it out. Definitely check it out. And if you can throw a few shekels at it, do, because it's well worth your time. Because you can get you can throw, I think it's something like a $5 at it, and you get the PDF of the book when it's released. So even if you can't afford to throw the 40 or 30 quid it is for the big book, throw a $5 at it and get the PDF, and you'll get the book and everything that it includes in the book. I
barely have a job and I threw 60 quid. I want that sketch, man.
Yeah. But no, so they're the 2 announcements. Definitely, I'd recommend checking out the Gundam and Coffee Store on Cable Street, run by the folks from Dublin City Comics, who very graciously sponsor our D&D shenanigans.
Thanks, lad.
So, and please do check out the Pubcast Plays D&D if you want to enter into our latest competition for a copy of Chronicles of Exandria, the art book, which can be yours. It is a fucking gorgeous book. I've looked through my copy now of it multiple times, and it's just beautiful. It's got art, but it's also got stories, scriptings, letters from characters, character descriptions. It's packed. It's a massive hardback book. It's beautiful, and a copy of it could be winging its way to you. All you got to do is go check out the Pubcast Plays Dungeons and Dragons episode 11, answer a very simple question, and reshare the video on social media, tagging Irish.
Very winnable.
Wayne, I'd say that book would be handy if you're playing in that campaign setting and you have a player that's always going. Do you have a picture of it? It'd be really handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
There's awkward players out there like that.
I've heard of them.
Have no imagination. Even when the DM's really good at describing them.
Yeah, the DM's really good at describing them.
Like, there's still that one person that'll go, do you have a picture?
Yeah. Pictures help. So, folks, that has been a very rambly episode of Pubcast about video games, Gundam, Animal Crossing, and backing some Kickstarters that deserve your attention. As always, I have been Wayne.
I've been Kim.
And I've been Darren. Woo!
And we will hopefully see you very soon for the next episode of Pubcast, and we will see you on the next episode of Pubcast Plays Dungeons and Dragons as well. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, look after yourselves, take it handy.